In life, we often hear the saying, your thoughts create your reality. And this could not be truer when it comes to the way we approach success, failure, and everything in between. Our mindset is the lens through which we interpret the world around us. It determines how we respond to opportunities, challenges, setbacks, and victories. Simply put, our mindset shapes the very reality we live in. When we talk about mindset, we are referring to the deep-set beliefs and attitudes that govern how we think, behave, and ultimately perceive the world. These beliefs are not simply abstract concepts. They are powerful forces that influence every decision we make and every action we take. More importantly, they shape our ability to achieve success or remain stuck in mediocrity. Mindset is a choice. It is not something that is determined by your background, your financial situation, or your upbringing. While these external factors may influence your starting point in life, they do not have to define the trajectory of your future. A person with a rich mindset understands this. They know that no matter where they start, they have the ability to shape their own destiny through the way they think and the way they act. A person with a rich mindset believes that they have control over their circumstances. They understand that life is not always going to be easy or predictable, but they also recognize that every situation, good or bad, is an opportunity for growth. Instead of being paralyzed by fear or overwhelmed by challenges, they choose to respond with a sense of purpose, determination, and resilience. They know that setbacks are simply a part of the journey, and that failure is not the opposite of success, but rather a stepping stone to greater achievements. On the other hand, someone with a poor mindset often sees life in terms of limitations. They believe that external circumstances such as the economy, their education, or their family background are the primary factors determining their success. This belief system often leads to a victim mentality, where the individual feels helpless or powerless in the face of adversity. They might think, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the right connections, or I'll never be able to break through. This mindset can keep them stuck in a cycle of underachievement, always waiting for the perfect opportunity that never seems to come. At the core of the rich mindset is the belief in the power of personal responsibility. Rich mindset individuals know that they are the architects of their own lives. They understand that their success or failure is not the result of luck, but of their own actions. This belief gives them the freedom to take risks, to invest in themselves, and to embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. They don't waste energy blaming others or external circumstances. Instead, they ask themselves, what can I do to improve? They focus on what they can control, not what they cannot. This approach to life is radically different from the poor mindset, which is rooted in the belief that success is outside of their control. People with a poor mindset often look for reasons why they can't succeed, whether it's a lack of time, money, or resources. They wait for things to happen to them instead of taking proactive steps toward their goals. They think, when things get better, I'll take action. But because they are constantly waiting for the perfect conditions, they never get started. The mindset you choose is crucial because it drives the actions you take. If you believe that success is possible for you, you're far more likely to take bold steps toward achieving it. If you believe that failure is inevitable, or that success is only for a select few, you'll likely find yourself stuck in a rut, never taking the steps necessary to break through. The key is understanding that your thoughts, whether positive or negative, will shape your behavior and, ultimately, the outcomes you experience. In essence, mindset is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It is the starting point for all success. If you want to change your reality, you must first change the way you think. The rich mindset operates from the belief that anything is possible with the right mindset, tools, and actions. It is this mindset that enables individuals to transcend their circumstances and achieve extraordinary results, no matter where they begin. At the heart of success lies the ability to focus. The way you focus determines where your energy goes, and where your energy goes ultimately shapes your outcomes. People with a rich mindset have learned the art of focus. Specifically, they focus on opportunities, not obstacles. In contrast, those with a poor mindset tend to fixate on what is standing in their way, often magnifying problems rather than seeing potential solutions. The difference in how these two mindsets approach life is profound, and it significantly impacts their ability to succeed. A person with a rich mindset has an inherent belief that the world is full of possibilities. They see opportunities everywhere, often in places where others might only see difficulty. These individuals are constantly scanning their environment for ways to add value, improve a process, or create something new. Whether in their personal lives or their careers, they are always looking for ways to make things better. When faced with a challenge, instead of shrinking back in fear or frustration, they lean in and ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this situation be turned into an opportunity for growth?" In their eyes, every setback is simply a lesson, and every obstacle is a chance to build resilience, creativity, or skill. For example, when faced with a financial downturn or a business failure, a rich mindset individual doesn't wallow in defeat. Instead, they analyze what went wrong, adapt their strategies, and find new ways to move forward. They ask themselves questions like, "What is this experience teaching me? And how can I do this better next time?" By focusing on these opportunities to learn and grow, they turn what others might see as failures into stepping stones toward greater success. The rich mindset operates from a place of optimism, believing that opportunities are abundant and that there is always a way to improve, even in challenging times. This does not mean that they are blind to the difficulties they face. It simply means that they choose not to dwell on them. They maintain a sense of possibility and a belief in their ability to overcome. By constantly seeking opportunities for improvement and innovation, they position themselves to seize moments others might overlook. In contrast, a poor mindset focuses on the obstacles in front of them. These individuals often feel overwhelmed by challenges and tend to see problems as insurmountable. When faced with adversity, their automatic response is to ask, "Why me?" Or, "What did I do wrong?" They tend to become stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and blame, where external circumstances, whether a lack of resources, unfair competition, or difficult market conditions, are seen as the reasons for their lack of success. The poor mindset is characterized by a fixation on what is wrong, what is missing, and what is standing in the way. This focus on obstacles creates a mental barrier that prevents the individual from seeing the full range of possibilities. Rather than seeking solutions, they often focus on reasons why things won't work or why success is unattainable. For example, if a person with a poor mindset encounters financial difficulties, they might conclude that they are simply not cut out for business or that their financial situation will never improve. Responsibility is about making choices that reflect your goals and values, regardless of the circumstances. It is about recognizing that you have the ability to change your situation through your thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Consider the example of a person who has faced significant setbacks in their career, perhaps due to factors outside their control, like an economic downturn or the closure of a company they worked for. Someone who takes responsibility for their life will look at this situation and ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I position myself to succeed in the future? What skills can I develop? Or what networks can I build that will help me thrive, regardless of external conditions?" They recognize that while they cannot control the market or their company's decisions, they can control how they respond to the situation. They take proactive steps to develop new skills, seek new opportunities, or start their own business if necessary. By contrast, when you blame external factors for your circumstances, you place the power for your success or failure in the hands of others or of situations beyond your control. When you blame your upbringing, your boss, the economy, or any number of external factors, you relinquish control over your future. Blaming others is a passive approach that sees you as a victim of circumstances, helpless to change or improve your situation. This mindset creates a false sense of powerlessness. Instead of taking action, you find yourself waiting for things to improve or for someone else to change the situation. But waiting for change rarely leads to progress. It keeps you stuck because it assumes that everything outside of you must be different before you can take action. For instance, someone who blames their lack of success on their upbringing may say, "I didn't grow up with money, so I'll never be wealthy." Or, "My parents didn't teach me the right things, so I'll never be successful." While it's true that some people face more challenges than others, to focus on these factors and use them as an excuse is to give up your power. The reality is that every person, no matter their starting point, has the potential to create their own success. Many successful individuals came from humble beginnings, faced immense challenges, and overcame numerous obstacles. What separated them from those who remained stuck in victimhood was their willingness to take responsibility for their own success, to see their circumstances as a launching pad, not as a limitation. The truth is that life is rarely fair, and external factors will always exist that seem to work against us. But that does not mean we are powerless. By taking responsibility, we acknowledge that even in the face of adversity, we have a choice. We have a choice. We can choose how we respond, and this choice is where our power lies. Taking responsibility means that you recognize that everything in your life, whether good or bad, is the result of your decisions and actions. It's not about blaming yourself for everything that happens, but rather about recognizing that you have control over how you act moving forward. Blaming external factors, however, keeps you stuck in the past. It leads to a cycle of self-pity, frustration, and inaction. When you blame other people or situations, you do not empower yourself to create change. For example, someone who blames their lack of success on their boss or their company's policies may hold on to resentment, anger, or frustration. This emotional state drains their energy, leaving little room for creative solutions. They may start to feel defeated and believe that their situation is hopeless, not realizing that they have the ability to create new opportunities or find a different path forward. Taking responsibility also means acknowledging that no one else can define your success but you. It is about deciding for yourself what success looks like and committing to taking the necessary steps to get there. This involves setting clear goals, creating actionable plans, and holding yourself accountable for the progress you make. It means understanding that there will be challenges along the way. But instead of blaming others for those challenges, you embrace them as opportunities for growth. It is a mindset that understands that success is a journey, not a destination, and that the lessons learned along the way are just as important as the achievements themselves. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop being a passive observer of your own story. You take control and you take action. You stop waiting for the right moment or for someone else to make a change. Instead, you start making changes within yourself, and as you do, you begin to see the world differently. You realize that your environment, circumstances, and even other people's actions no longer have the same power over you. You have freed yourself from the constraints of external blame and embraced the power of responsibility. Responsibility, however, is not about accepting blame for things that are genuinely outside your control. It is about taking ownership of your responses to those things. You cannot control the actions of others, the global economy, or the hand you've been dealt in life. But you can control your mindset, your effort, your decisions, and the actions you take to create change. Instead of blaming the world, you recognize that your ability to overcome challenges is a reflection of your own character, determination, and resilience. Ultimately, the choice between taking responsibility and blaming external factors is a choice about how you see yourself in relation to the world. Are you a victim of circumstances, or are you the creator of your own reality? Taking responsibility gives you the power to shape your life, your success, and your future. Blaming external factors keeps you powerless, perpetuating a cycle of frustration and helplessness. The decision is yours. The difference between those who rise to extraordinary heights and those who remain stagnant in their lives often boils down to one fundamental factor: how they view themselves and their potential for growth. Some people choose to invest in personal development, continuously seeking ways to improve themselves, learn new skills, and grow intellectually and emotionally. Others, however, cling to fixed beliefs about who they are and what they are capable of. This fixed mindset limits their potential and prevents them from evolving, ultimately stalling their progress. The distinction between investing in personal growth and holding on to fixed beliefs is not just about the acquisition of knowledge, but about how we perceive our ability to change, adapt, and shape our own futures. The power of personal growth investment, investing in personal growth, is a deliberate choice to commit to continuous learning, self-improvement, and the development of new skills. People who make this choice understand that they are not defined by their current abilities or circumstances. Instead, they view themselves as works in progress, constantly evolving and expanding their potential. This mindset encourages them to seek new experiences, challenge their assumptions, and take on new opportunities, knowing that each experience is an investment in their future success. The process of personal growth involves taking proactive steps to broaden your knowledge base, improve your emotional intelligence, and expand your skill set. It means dedicating time to reading books, attending workshops, taking courses, seeking mentorship, and engaging with individuals who challenge your thinking and push you outside your comfort zone. Those who invest in personal growth do so with the understanding that success is a journey, not a destination, and that the more they develop, the more they will be able to contribute to the world around them. The benefits of investing in personal growth are immense. When you continuously learn and adapt, you become more resilient to challenges. You develop a mindset of problem-solving and innovation, rather than a mindset of limitation. You begin to understand that obstacles are not insurmountable roadblocks, but opportunities to apply the knowledge, skills, and resilience you've acquired along the way. You also become more self-aware, recognizing both your strengths and areas for improvement, which allows you to operate with greater clarity and purpose. Moreover, those who invest in their growth tend to foster a sense of empowerment. Instead of waiting for external factors to change, they understand that their success is primarily determined by their actions, mindset, and commitment to improvement. Whether it's in their careers, personal relationships, or overall well-being, investing in growth equips them with the tools they need to navigate an ever-changing world. The stagnation of fixed beliefs on the opposite end of the spectrum lies the individual who subscribes to fixed beliefs about themselves, their abilities, and their potential. A fixed mindset is one that sees intelligence, talent, and character as static qualities, things that are either inherent or unchangeable. People with fixed believe that they are born with a certain set of abilities, and they often define their worth by these abilities. If they are good at something, they feel validated. If they struggle, they see it as a reflection of their incapacity rather than a challenge to overcome. For example, a person with a fixed mindset might think, "I'm just not good at math," or "I'll never be a great leader," or "I've always been bad with money, so I'll never improve." These fixed beliefs lock them into a rigid, narrow view of themselves and their capabilities. They are not open to the idea that they can improve or change through effort, learning, or dedication. Instead, they believe their limitations define them, often leading to frustration, resignation, and missed opportunities. A key characteristic of a fixed mindset is the fear of failure. Since individuals with fixed beliefs see failure as a direct reflection of their inability or incompetence, they often avoid challenges and risks. Rather than trying something new or stepping outside their comfort zone, they stick to what they know and what feels safe. This fear of failure keeps them stuck in a cycle of stagnation, unable to grow or evolve. They may avoid new experiences, avoid confronting their weaknesses, and ultimately miss the chance to improve or succeed in areas they could have mastered. The impact on personal and professional life, the consequences of adhering to fixed beliefs can be profound, especially in the context of career and personal relationships. Sure, professionally, individuals with a fixed mindset may shy away from new challenges or responsibilities that could lead to career advancement. They might resist taking on leadership roles as they fear being exposed as incompetent if they make mistakes. They might also resist learning new technologies or methodologies because they believe that their existing knowledge is sufficient, failing to recognize the importance of staying current in an ever-evolving workplace. In relationships, a fixed mindset can lead to difficulties in communication and growth. People who see themselves as stuck in certain ways of being may avoid addressing their flaws or working on their personal development. They might have a limited ability to adapt to changes in their relationship dynamics, which can lead to stagnation or even conflict. By believing that they are simply the way they are, they close themselves off to the possibility of growth and improvement within the relationship. On the contrary, individuals who embrace personal growth in their relationships are constantly learning how to communicate more effectively, how to empathize with others, and how to grow together. They understand that their ability to connect, collaborate, and build meaningful relationships depends on their willingness to evolve both individually and as part of a partnership. The shift from fixed beliefs to growth mindset, the good news is that it is possible to shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. But this requires a fundamental change in how we view ourselves and our potential. It starts with the recognition that growth is a lifelong process and that learning doesn't stop after school or a certain age. One of the first steps in this transition is to embrace the idea that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an essential part of the learning process. For someone who has spent years clinging to fixed beliefs, it can be challenging to let go of the notion that their talents and abilities are set in stone. However, when you begin to understand that effort, practice, and perseverance lead to progress, it becomes easier to adopt a mindset of growth. The key is to replace thoughts like, I'm just not good at this with, I'm not good at this yet, but I can improve with practice. In this shift, the individual begins to see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than as threats to their competence. They embrace the idea of effort as a positive force and seek out feedback, not as criticism, but as a tool for improvement. The more they invest in their growth, the more they see their potential expand. The role of feedback in adaptation, a critical aspect of personal growth, is the willingness to receive and apply feedback. People who invest in growth actively seek out feedback from others, whether it's from a mentor, peer, or supervisor. They understand that feedback is essential to understanding their blind spots, identifying areas for improvement, and refining their skills. By contrast, those with fixed beliefs tend to reject feedback, viewing it as a threat to their self-image or a confirmation of their inadequacies. As individuals begin to embrace feedback, they recognize its value in helping them improve, adapt, and evolve. This openness to feedback allows them to continuously adjust their approach, refine their skills, and ultimately achieve greater success. It is this willingness to adapt, to change, and to grow that defines those who invest in personal development and sets them apart from those who remain fixed in their beliefs about their limitations. In essence, the choice between investing in personal growth and holding on to fixed beliefs is a choice between stagnation and progress. Personal growth requires effort, openness, and a willingness to confront challenges, but it offers the promise of continuous improvement and transformation. By letting go of fixed beliefs and embracing the mindset of growth, individuals unlock their true potential, paving the way for a life of greater success, fulfillment, and purpose. In the pursuit of success, the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't often boils down to one crucial factor: the ability to take action. Taking consistent, purposeful action and persisting in the face of challenges separates high achievers from those who fall into the trap of procrastination and inaction. While taking action and showing persistence are traits of successful individuals, procrastination and inaction hold many people back, causing them to miss opportunities, delay progress, and ultimately fall short of their true potential. Understanding the power of action and persistence, and the consequences of procrastination and inaction, is vital for anyone who wishes to achieve their dreams and fulfill their potential. The power of action is the driving force that turns thoughts, ideas, and plans into tangible results. Without action, even the most well-thought-out goals remain nothing more than dreams. Success is built on a foundation of deliberate, consistent actions, no matter how small, that compound over time to create significant results. People who understand the importance of action recognize that, while inspiration and motivation are powerful, it is the consistent effort that propels them forward. Taking action requires more than just deciding to do something. It involves making intentional steps toward your goals, regardless of whether you feel ready or comfortable. It's about overcoming the inertia that can prevent us from starting and pushing through the initial discomfort of venturing into the unknown. When you take action, you begin to move forward, and movement, even if imperfect, creates momentum. This momentum builds upon itself, turning what once seemed like an overwhelming challenge into something manageable. A key aspect of taking action is making decisions and following through with them. Successful individuals don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect set of circumstances to begin. They start with what they have, where they are, and they keep moving forward. They understand that action leads to clarity. The more they act, the more they learn and adapt, fine-tuning their strategies along the way. They are not paralyzed by fear or the need for perfection. Instead, They embrace the idea that taking action, even in the face of uncertainty, is the only way to make progress. Persistence, the key to overcoming obstacles. Action alone is powerful, but it is persistence that separates short-term efforts from long-term success. Persistence is the ability to continue pursuing your goals in the face of challenges, setbacks, and adversity. It is the determination to stay the course, even when the results aren't immediate or the road gets tough. Without persistence, even the best ideas and strategies will falter, because the inevitable difficulties along the way will deter you from continuing. Persistence is an attitude, a belief in your ability to succeed, even when the journey gets difficult. Successful individuals understand that failure and setbacks are not the end, but rather part of the process. They persist because they know that each failure is an opportunity to learn, improve, and refine their approach. They don't give up when things don't go as planned. They adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. Every challenge they face is a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well, but persistence is tested when faced with adversity. In these moments, successful individuals double down on their efforts, knowing that consistent action, even in small increments, will eventually lead to their desired outcome. They see setbacks not as signs to quit, but as stepping stones toward achieving their goals. Persistence is the glue that holds their efforts together, allowing them to stay focused and determined in the face of challenges. The trap of procrastination. On the opposite end of the spectrum lies procrastination, a destructive habit that holds many people back from achieving their dreams. Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks, often by avoiding them altogether. It's the art of putting off what should be done now in favor of distractions, comfort, or fear. While procrastination might seem like a harmless tendency, it can have serious consequences in the long run. One of the primary reasons for procrastination is fear of failure, fear of imperfection, or fear of the unknown. When faced with a challenging task, the mind often seeks to avoid discomfort by delaying action. Procrastination allows us to escape the anxiety of starting something new, but in the process, it also delays the progress we need to make. It can become a vicious cycle where the longer we delay, the greater the anxiety becomes, which leads to even more avoidance. Procrastination also often stems from a lack of clarity or overwhelm. The larger the task or the more daunting the goal, the more likely we are to put it off. Rather than breaking the goal down into manageable steps, we tend to look at the whole picture and become paralyzed by its complexity. This inaction fuels our fear and uncertainty, keeping us stuck in a cycle of procrastination. The longer we procrastinate, the more the feeling of regret and frustration builds. We may find ourselves rushing to meet deadlines or realizing that opportunities have passed us by. This sense of urgency, though it might force us to take action eventually, is not productive or sustainable. In fact, procrastination can lead to feelings of guilt and diminished self-esteem as we become aware that we are not living up to our potential or taking the necessary steps to achieve our goals. The consequences of inaction. Inaction is another major barrier to success, and it often manifests when procrastination becomes a chronic behavior. Inaction refers to the absence of movement or the refusal to take any steps toward a goal. While procrastination involves delaying action, inaction is the complete avoidance of it. People who engage in inaction often lack the motivation, confidence, or belief that they can succeed, which leads to a general sense of passivity. They wait for the perfect opportunity or the right circumstances to act, believing that success will somehow come to them, rather than being something they need to actively pursue. Inaction often results in missed opportunities. Opportunities are fleeting, and they don't wait around for us to get ready or feel more comfortable. By sitting on the sidelines, we risk letting valuable chances pass us by. The longer we remain inactive, the more we grow accustomed to staying stagnant, and the harder it becomes to break free from this cycle. Inaction also breeds regret. It leads to a life of a what-if say and missed potential. We may find ourselves looking back years later, wondering where the time went and why we didn't take action when we had the chance. This sense of regret can weigh heavily on the mind, causing frustration and resentment. Inaction can also lead to a lack of fulfillment, as we realize we've let fear, uncertainty, or complacency dictate the course of our lives. The power of small steps. One of the most effective ways to combat procrastination and inaction is by taking small, consistent steps toward your goals. You don't have to take massive leaps. In fact, small steps are often more sustainable and effective in the long run. Breaking your goals down into manageable tasks makes them less overwhelming and more achievable. This approach allows you to maintain momentum, build confidence, and stay committed to the process. When you take small actions consistently, they add up over time. Each step you take brings you closer to your goal, and each small victory reinforces your belief that you are capable of more. The key is to start, even if it's just a small action, and to keep going, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable the journey may be. The importance of accountability, another strategy to combat procrastination and inaction, is accountability. When you make a commitment to yourself or others, it becomes harder to ignore or delay the actions you need to take. Sharing your goals with a trusted friend, mentor, or coach can create a sense of responsibility that encourages you to take action. Knowing that someone is expecting you to follow through can provide the extra push needed to overcome procrastination and make steady progress. Conclusion: the difference between action and inaction, persistence and procrastination, is the difference between achievement and stagnation. Those who take consistent, purposeful action and persist in the face of challenges are the ones who create lasting success and reach their full potential. Procrastination and inaction, on the other hand, are the silent killers of progress, keeping us stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and missed opportunities. To truly succeed, we must learn to overcome the temptation of procrastination, break free from inaction, and embrace the power of consistent, deliberate action. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment, but about making the most of every moment, no matter how small, and moving forward toward our goals. The way we perceive the world around us directly influences the way we live our lives. Our mindset, particularly in terms of how we view resources, opportunities, and success, plays a pivotal role in shaping our experiences. One of the most fundamental mindsets that can drastically impact our lives is the difference between an abundance mentality and a scarcity mentality. These two ways of thinking influence not only our relationship with money, success, and relationships, but also how we approach challenges, setbacks, and personal growth. At their core, an abundance mentality and a scarcity mentality are reflections of how we view the availability of resources in the world. While one promotes a mindset of growth, collaboration, and opportunity, the other fosters fear, competition, and limitation. Understanding these mindsets and how they shape our behaviors can be the key to unlocking greater success, fulfillment, and personal growth. The scarcity mentality. A world of limits, a scarcity mentality, is rooted in the belief that there is not enough to go around. It stems from the notion that resources, whether they be money, success, love, or opportunities, are limited. This mindset operates under the assumption that if someone else wins or succeeds, there is less for you. It's a mindset driven by fear. Fear that there won't be enough. Fear that you will lose out. Fear that others will take what you think should be yours. People with a scarcity mentality often live in a state of competition, constantly comparing themselves to others, worried about the next person's success because they believe it threatens their own. This mindset manifests in many aspects of life. When it comes to finances, those with a scarcity mentality might hoard money, avoid investing, or be overly cautious, fearing that any loss or risk will put them further behind. They may live paycheck to paycheck, believing that wealth and success are reserved for a few lucky people, and that they are somehow excluded from those possibilities. They see opportunities as scarce, and because of this, they hold on to what little they have out of fear of losing it. In relationships, a scarcity mentality can cause insecurity, jealousy, and possessiveness. If someone feels that there is not enough love or affection to go around, they may act out of fear that their partner could find someone else. This mindset leads to unhealthy dynamics in relationships, as people become possessive rather than collaborative, always worried about losing what they believe they own or deserve. Professionally, the scarcity mindset often creates a cutthroat environment. People with this mentality might view their colleagues as competitors rather than collaborators, seeing their successes as direct threats to their own career progression. The fear of being left behind or overshadowed leads to a lack of trust, cooperation, and sharing of ideas. Innovation is stifled, as people are afraid to share their knowledge, believing that helping others will only harm their chances of success. One of the greatest limitations of the scarcity mentality is that it keeps people trapped in a cycle of fear and competition. It encourages individuals to protect their resources, to play small, and to stay within the boundaries of what feels safe. It can be paralyzing, as it inhibits creativity, risk-taking, exploration of new possibilities. People with a scarcity mindset often resist change and growth, believing that doing so will only expose them to greater risks. The abundance mentality, a world of possibilities in contrast. An abundance mentality is based on the belief that there is more than enough for everyone. It is rooted in the idea that resources, whether tangible or intangible, are abundant and can grow over time. People with an abundance mindset recognize that success is not a zero-sum game. One person's success does not diminish their own. Instead, they view the world as a place of opportunity, where there is always room for growth, innovation, and collaboration. This mindset fosters positivity, creativity, and a sense of generosity, both in personal relationships and professional environments. Those with an abundance mentality are more likely to take calculated risks because they believe that opportunities will continue to arise. In the realm of money, they may be more open to investing, knowing that wealth is not a fixed pie to be divided, but something that can be created, multiplied, and expanded over time. They see challenges as opportunities for growth and understand that setbacks are temporary and can often lead to even greater rewards. People with an abundance mindset are also more likely to practice gratitude. They are focused on what they have rather than what they lack. This shift in focus allows them to appreciate the abundance already present in their lives, whether it's their health, their relationships, or their talents, rather than constantly worrying about what they don't have. This sense of gratitude propels them toward greater success, as it fosters a mindset of positivity and possibility, rather than negativity and lack. In relationships, an abundance mentality leads to more open, trusting, and supportive dynamics. Those with this mindset understand that love and affection are not finite resources, but that giving love freely actually generates more love in return. They are not threatened by the success or happiness of others, because they believe that there is always enough to go around. This perspective fosters collaboration, compassion, and generosity, and it allows relationships to thrive in an environment of mutual support. Professionally, the abundance mentality encourages collaboration rather than competition. People with this mindset share knowledge, offer help, and support the growth of their colleagues, understanding that helping others succeed only adds to the collective success of the team. Rather than hoarding information or taking credit for others' ideas, those with an abundance mindset recognize the power of collective success. They are willing to take risks and innovate, knowing that, in an abundant world, there is always space for new ideas and new possibilities. How the mindset affects personal growth and success. The mindset you adopt plays a critical role in determining your ability to grow and succeed. A scarcity mentality limits growth by keeping you focused on limitations and fears. It keeps you small, preventing you from reaching for bigger goals because of the belief that you are unworthy or that the resources you need are too rare. This mindset stifles creativity, exploration, and the courage to take risks. It encourages self-doubt and insecurity, which can lead to procrastination, missed opportunities, and a lack of fulfillment. On the other hand, an abundance mentality fosters growth because it is rooted in the belief that there is always room to expand, learn, and improve. People with this mindset take on challenges with a sense of excitement and possibility, because they believe that even in the face of setbacks, there are countless opportunities to pivot, adapt, and try again. They are more likely to invest in their personal development, seek out new experiences, and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. This mindset creates a feedback loop of progress. The more they take action, the more they learn, and the more they believe in their ability to succeed. An abundance mentality also enables you to move beyond fear and into action. People with an abundant view of the world recognize that failure is not a permanent state, but a learning experience. They understand that success is not a one-time event, but a series of small incremental steps that compound over time. By viewing the world through the lens of abundance, they are free to take risks, try new things, and learn from their mistakes without fear of running out of chances or opportunities. or opportunity. Making the shift from scarcity to abundance, shifting from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality, requires a conscious effort to change how you think and perceive the world. The first step is to become aware of your current mindset. Notice when you feel competitive, fearful, or worried about scarcity, whether it's with money, time, or relationships. Once you've identified these thoughts, challenge them. Ask yourself whether they are truly grounded in reality or if they are based on fear. One effective way to cultivate an abundance mentality is through gratitude. By focusing on what you already have, you begin to realize the vast resources that are already available to you. Keep a daily gratitude journal to remind yourself of the abundance in your life, whether it's good health, supportive friends, or opportunities for growth. This practice shifts your attention away from lack and towards abundance. Another way to nurture an abundance mindset is by practicing generosity. Give freely of your time, resources, and energy without expecting anything in return. By sharing what you have, you reinforce the belief that there is more than enough for everyone. The more you practice generosity, the more you internalize the idea that the universe is abundant and supportive. Finally, surround yourself with individuals who have an abundance mindset. The people you associate with can greatly influence your own perspective. By surrounding yourself with those who embrace opportunity, collaboration, and growth, you will begin to adopt the same mindset and move beyond fear and limitation. Conclusion: the choice between an abundance mentality and a scarcity mentality is one of the most important decisions you can make in your life. An abundance mindset opens the door to growth, opportunity, and success, while a scarcity mindset keeps you trapped in fear, competition, and limitation. By shifting from scarcity to abundance, you not only change the way you approach challenges and setbacks, but you also unlock your potential to life of fulfillment, creativity, and lasting success.